Hi guys, Dr. Rachel Hippolyte here again. Okay, so we're going to be a bit more reactive today with tips in what you can do, because remember it's your brain, okay, what you can do to reduce that fight or flight system, to reduce that overactiveness of the fight, flight, freeze response when there's nothing that you can do to change the situation that you're worried about. Okay, so let's just talk about that fight, flight, freeze. So we have those two parts of the brain that I'm always talking about. We have the logical, intelligent brain, the prefrontal cortex, and then we have the emotional brain, the automatic brain, the survival brain. Okay, so when you're in anxiety, you're in survival brain, that automatic brain. And what happens is that then turns off the prefrontal cortex. And generally, when you're in prefrontal cortex, you can be logical. Generally, things are okay because you can be positive. Here, it's all negative because you're looking for the threat. Okay, so what we need to do is get you out of here and back into that positive, that logical part of the brain. So mindfulness is a perfect way of doing that. When you are in the moment, you are not in your head, and when you're in your head, you're generally in the past or in the future. Anxiety, you're generally in the future. Depression, you're generally in the past, and the majority of you will have a little bit of both. Okay. So there are ways to reactivate this part of the brain, okay, the prefrontal cortex, the positive, healthy part of the brain. And that is by being in the moment, okay, being mindful. Now, all these things, this is automatic, okay, so this does things without us being aware of it. It controls our immune system, it controls our muscle tone, but it controls our memories. But what it does is it does it without us being aware of it. And so we need to make you more aware. For example, a second ago, I wasn't aware of the feeling of me sitting on this chair. I've now just changed my focus to notice how my legs feel and how my back feels on the chair. That brought me back to the moment. Just by talking to you here, I am in the moment, okay? I'm out of my head. I can't get into those negative, repetitive thoughts. Now, with isolation, okay, this is where we are at risk. This is where we are at risk of having too much time in here. In here, as in here, is dangerous, okay? The majority of anxiety we cause ourselves through our own negative thoughts, okay? That we can stop. Your brain will actually always take the easy option, okay? Now, in your case, that easy option would be things that you've learned. So these pathways that you've learned over time, probably since a childhood, and generally they're the negative ones. So we need to change those pathways. We need to make them more positive. Okay, so these are coping mechanisms for anxiety. You need to keep practicing them, because I can guarantee you'll bring yourself back to the moment, and then you'll go back into old pathways as soon as you go out of conscious into unconscious mind. Okay, so first thing I want you to do is look for 5 things that you can see. Now, I want you to really be aware of what you're seeing. It's not just about house, tree, ocean, okay? It's about looking at it. Look at the texture, look at the color. Okay, so I can see a house over there. That's my neighbor's house. Okay, and I can really see that the house is been painted white. Okay, there are brick areas. There's a balcony. Okay, so that's the first thing. It brought me into the moment. Okay, the second thing I can see is the tree that's in front of me. Okay, but I want to look at that tree. I really want to look at the leaves. I think it's a sheer oak tree. It's one of those ones that whistles in the wind, but there actually is very little wind here today. Are there any birds in the tree that I can see? There's normally a lot, and now I can see that there is a slight breeze, and those leaves are actually moving. So I'm focusing on what I'm seeing. I'm bringing myself into the moment. Okay, so then I'm looking at the ocean. My favorite place to be is by the ocean. I find it so calming. Okay, and I can just see that there's a slight ripple, okay, because we've got an easterly wind today. It's really vibrant blue, and it's really vibrant blue because the sun's out. I can see there's a reef just over there with just a bit of white water on it. And so I'm really in the moment. I can see a canoeist just out from the shoreline. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, and now I can see a boat. They're just coming along the horizon there. So that's 3. We need to find 5. Okay, so now I am going to see, if I look further down there, there's a park in front of me. That park is normally always busy. There's actually no one there today. And I'm looking at it, and ahead of that I can now see a car just at the ocean front, and that car is a white car and it's going nice and slowly. I can see a person just walking on his own just past the tree. 4, 5 I think I'm up to now. Okay, I can see the cafe just all the way down there. It's very, very quiet down there, the cafe. They've now been told by our government that they need to close. Normally that is hustling and bustling. Okay, but these are nothing to get anxious about. It is just fact. Okay, so that's your 5 things you can see. Now I want you to find 4 things that you can touch, but when you touch them I want you to really, really feel what you're feeling. Okay, so I have a towel over here, so the texture of that towel. Okay, the texture of that towel is quite rough. I was in the water with it yesterday. Okay, so really feel what you can touch. Again, like I said, I can now feel and I'm aware of my back and my legs on this chair. I can actually feel my necklace just on my chest there. Okay, these are feelings that I wasn't aware of. Even though they were there, my unconscious brain, the automatic brain, was just not allowing me to perceive those feelings. I can feel my hair just on my shoulders there. Okay, so 4 things that you can touch or feel. 3 things that you can hear. Okay, so here I can hear the ocean, my favorite calming sound in the world. I can hear the ocean waves, and I can hear the wind. Everything's quiet at the moment, but I can hear the wind in that tree, and it's whistling. And I just heard a bird, I think it's my favourite birds, which is the willy wagtail, just over behind me. Can you hear that bird? Okay, then two things that you can smell. Bit difficult out here in the ocean, but I can just smell freshness. I can smell, maybe smell a flower. I won't walk over there, but pick up a flower and smell it. I've got chewing gums here. Smell the mint. Okay, really be aware of that smell, and then just 1 thing that you can taste. Okay, so this is when we need to be aware of when we're eating. Okay, actually think about what you're tasting. Don't just shovel it in. Okay, be conscious. Be mindful over what you're eating. Perfect example is a chewing gum. Okay, but be mindful of it. Don't do it automatically. Now, if you constantly use these tips to keep bringing yourself back to the moment, it will become more natural to you than being up in your head. But it does take practice. Okay, it's a skill that you need to learn. It's a skill that will take you away from the bad habits of that anxious, that activation of that negative part of the brain. Okay, guys, so I hope that helps. Please do it, but please constantly do it. If you suddenly feel yourself being anxious, just do that and it will bring you back to now. When you're anxious, you're in the future. You're worrying about something that hasn't happened yet. It's pointless. It doesn't change the outcome. Be logical, be practical, and put these into place. Okay, guys, that is the end of today. I need to go and now whip my children into actually doing some homework when they actually think they're on holiday, but they're not. Okay, guys, chat to you soon.